right, if you guys will stand and pray with me. Lord, I ask that you be with us today in our meeting, that you give us wisdom and discernment. I thank you for the blessings that you've given us in this community. Show us how to steward them, and I just ask that you continue to bless the citizens and the city of Macon. In Jesus' name we pray. Pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll start with the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second,
I'll second.
vote.
Hammond,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Huckabee,
Yes.
Dooley,
Yes.
Manasco.
Yes. Okay, at this time, we'll open it up to remarks or inquiries by the audience not pertaining to any item on the agenda. If you want to come up here to the podium. Right.
My name is Donnie Wiggins, and I've got a few concerns that I don't want to bring to the committee yet, but I have made several calls to City Hall, and City Manager hasn't returned any calls on a couple of issues, so I'm going to give it one more month, and then I'll be in front of the commissioners. Okay?
Thank you.
What is your number? If you write your number down, I'll give you a call, because I do not have a message to give you a call.
580.
Do you want, you don't have to put it in public
I
if you
don't
want
care
to.
if anybody knows.
Okay.
It's 580-706-1531.
Okay, and what was your name?
Donnie Wiggins, and my son Tim Wiggins has also made calls.
I have not heard about it, but I'll give you a call tomorrow.
That's the problem.
Thank you.
That's one of the issues.
Any other remarks from the audience?
I wanted to see if there's any way to get the age limit lowered for the city pool. I've done talked to Irma about it. They're doing some checking. I know they voted on it in the past to have it set at 12, but there's a lot of kids that swim at 9 and 10 years of age. I would think there's some kind of test that they could do, swimming test, whatever, to prove that they could swim. And if it'd be up to the lifeguards or, you know, the manager of the pool, their discretion as to whether they think they're okay, then let them swim. Or even have the parents sign off, just like the schools do for physical. You know, they have to sign off saying they're given permission for them to do this, you know, in sports and that, and not be, the schools don't get held liable for it. So I would like to see if there's any way we can come to a resolution for that.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. I'm managing the pool this summer, so I have talked to Irma, she's talked to Corey. We've kind of figured out where that number 12 came from. It started from our insurance company. They did give us, I guess, an okay to lower the age limit to 10, but absolutely no younger than that. However, in speaking with my lifeguards and with Irma, the liability just seems like too much. So we've come up with a plan to implement a test. I will be talking with Irma tomorrow about when we're going to schedule this, but it will be a test for 10 and 11-year-olds to come in, and they will have to do a number of things to prove that they can sustain themselves in the pool. And then they will have to sign it, the child themselves. Their parents will have to sign a liability waiver. My lifeguards, they will be the ones to sign off and say, yes, they meet the requirements, or no, they don't. But we will be implementing that. I just don't have a date for it yet. So.
Thanks for working on that.
Thank you.
Any other remarks at this time? Okay, we will go on to item 5, discussion and possible action with regard to accepting the amendment to owner-engineer agreement for the wastewater treatment facility outfall main and discharge permit in the amount of $28,000.
Jackie, we actually need to approve 6 first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we need to do item 6.
All right, item 6, discussion and possible action with regard to accepting the best and most responsible bid for the wastewater discharge improvements.
Okay, the city held a bid opening on Thursday, May 22nd, and the lowest bid received was $177,902. And that's within the budget for the CDBG REAP funds.
Okay.
Who was the low bidder?
Grade Work Construction.
Okay. So really, we just need a motion to
Approve the-
accept the lowest bid?
Or the best and most responsible bid.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the best and most responsible bid.
I'll second it.
Vote.
Hammond,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Huckabee,
Yes.
Dooley,
Yes.
Manasco.
Yes. Okay, back to item 5, discussion and possible action with regard to accepting the amendment to owner-engineer agreement for the wastewater treatment facility outfall, main, and discharge permit in the amount of $28,000.
Okay, this is under our budget for CDBG REAP. We have the extra funds for payment. When the application was first developed, there was no funding in there for inspection. This inspection fees would be from ours to have someone come down and inspect the work, construction work as it's being installed. So,
And I agree with it.
Right?
Yes.
Right. Anybody have any questions, or you have anything to add?
I just wanted to say hi, I'm Jennifer Fiergard with Myers Engineering. I'll do the project management for
Okay.
this, so I'll kind of be the go-between on the project. And after visiting with Irma, she had mentioned that she would love some inspection oversight, but it wasn't originally there. And since this project came in under bid, we were able to offer that service to you guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the agreement.
Second.
I'll second.
Vote.
Hammond,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Huckabee,
Yes.
Dooley,
Yes.
Manasco.
Yes. Clyde, thank you for your work on that.
thank you.
Thank you.
I'm on trying to get back home before the storms come.
Go for it. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Be safe.
Okay, at this time, we'll open it up to staff and board remarks or inquiries by the governing body members, city manager, attorney, or city employees.
I do want to say that I want to remind everyone how it goes as far as if we have a problem outside, or we have a problem with trashes, or we have a problem with something that our superintendent can handle. He does have a city cell phone. We can have our superintendent look into these as well if I'm busy, or if I'm with Myers Engineering, or if I'm with now every insurance company that we can think of is here after that hailstorm. I have a lot of trainings. I am gone everywhere. If we don't get a resolution with our superintendent or our department heads, yes, you definitely need to contact me so we can come up with something. But that's what we have some of these people in place for. But I will get together with the girls up front and let them know to offer our superintendents,
Are you talking about to the public?
yes, to the public. I don't want anybody to feel and wait forever for it when our superintendent or somebody, a department head in our streets, or our chief or our fire chief can handle. So I'll let the girls know to start
Good.
offering first the department head and see if they can help, or our superintendent, and then go from there.
Very good. Anyone else? All right, motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'll second it.
Vote.
Hammond,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Huckabee,
Yes.
Dooley,
Yes.
Manasco.
Yes. Okay, we'll move right on over into the city commission special meeting. Can we call this meeting to order with a roll call, please?
Hammond,
Here.
Huckabee,
Here.
Golden,
Here.
Dooley,
Yes.
Manasco.
Yes. All right, we have a quorum. First, the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
I will.
Vote.
Hammond,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Is
Huckabee,
Joseph out there? Is Joseph out there?
Huckabee,
Yes.
Billy?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to remarks or inquiries by the audience not pertaining to any item on the agenda. Okay, we'll move on to reports. 6, financial report for April 2025 by the city manager.
In front of you, you will see the financial reports for the month of April. Is that us?
I think it's that one, the podium. It's that one.
For the month of April. So I will go over our breakdown. You will see the charts in front of you, the graphs in front of you, and the breakdown is also all right there. So for the month of April, we had, our sales tax was down some from the month of March. We had $44,904.17. Our used tax was down from the month of March. March was $10,000 and April was $9,650.28. Our alcohol beverage tax was down. Our franchise fees were up this month, $3,347.25. Our other revenue was down from the month before. Our fines, miscellaneous fines, are $2,580. That comes from the police department. Last month it was $850.50, so that's up. People have paid their tickets, like I said before. Our transfers remain the same. Our easement payments remain the same. You will see a significant jump in that miscellaneous revenue from the month of March, and that was just for, I believe we had a, we collected, I believe, on AT&T or something, owed us money, and we finally collected with that. What was that for, the polls? Yeah. So that's why you see that huge jump. So we couldn't figure out where we got it and why, but then I guess it was a contract that we had a couple of years ago and they're just now paying on that, so that's why you see that jump. Other than that, we're staying pretty basic. It does look like our MUA side is down some. Our MUA side is down due to us transferring those transfers over to the MUA side to take care of the general fund side. I've talked with our city clerk in advising that if the 01 general government side does not need that transfer of funds, we don't transfer those funds. Then it will make it look like we're not collecting the significant amount of revenue in the MUA side, and we are. So I'll go over their breakdown on the MUA side. In March, we had $44,590 in water revenue. This month, in April, for April, we had $56,000, and the water rehab stayed consistent. The electric revenue is up, of course. It's the time for air conditioning and people not wanting to be hot, and so the air conditionings are blasting, so that's up. So I think it was an increase about $30,000. The wind power is also up. It's that time of the year where the people's electric bills will start to see the increase due to Oklahoma heat that we love. But other than that, everything remains the same. We did have in our miscellaneous on that side, I don't know if we listed it on here, but that is for it looks kind of high also due to the check for the Welcome Center that we had. Other than that, the graphs in the bottom of that just shows our comparison from one month to the other. You'll see the year to date. Our year to date, it shows that we were, our year to date revenue overall is about 50% higher. Our expenses are about 30% higher, and that again is just due to some things that we were purchasing when the fiscal year started. They all know that we stopped purchasing unless it's an emergency. We stopped that 2 months ago. Unless it's a major emergency, we haven't done any purchases due to the fact of the ending of the fiscal year, so we don't have random bills coming to our accounts payable, and we try to pay it in August, and it's something purchased in June. So we've stopped any expenses unless it's an emergency. And that's it. Besides budget, we've worked really hard on budget, or I've worked really hard. The clerks, all the department heads were involved this year. Again, the commissioners were involved one by one during budget time. Our new commission was introduced to how the budget breakdown works individually, and it's super important that they all know the breakdown of how we function on a day-to-day and yearly basis during the fiscal year. That's it.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, moving on to the police report by Chief of Police, Chief Taylor.
Good evening. Be quick so we don't miss out on the storm. We received 468 calls for service. Some of those included 2 accidents. One was a hit and run and one was not. An unattended death, 14 bolos came out. Domestic disturbances were 8. 6 extra patrols, 26 follow-ups, a fraud, a harassment, 187 calls for information, 2 emergency detentions, 3 noise disturbances, 5 open doors, 5 reckless drivers, 16 requests to speak to an officer, stolen vehicle, 14 suspicious people, 4 suspicious vehicles, vandalism, and several welfare checks. From there, we had 35 reports that we wrote, and those 35 reports included some of the crimes were 7 assaults, a burglary from a motor vehicle, public intoxication, a fraud, public peace, which is going to be an emergency detention basically, an unattended death. Sadly, we had 2 different types of sexual assault reports, threats of intimidation, 5 vandalisms, and that pretty much covers it. Do we have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Fire report by the fire chief.
Good evening. We had a total of 29 calls that generated a run report. They broke down as 1 structure fire, 3 fire alarms or smoke alarms, 1 kid locked in a car, 5 lift assists, 4 helicopter landing zones, 2 reports of smoke, 1 forcible entry request, 5 motor vehicle accidents, 1 missing child, 5 hay fires or grass fires, and 1 gas leak. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item 9, discussion and possible action to approve resolution number 2025-060201, a resolution of the City of Mangum, Oklahoma, adopting the annual budget for the City of Mangum, Oklahoma for the fiscal year 2026. Do we go ahead and do that?
I mean, unless after, we had a budget retreat in which you gave your input, and we had a public hearing based on that. So if you're all comfortable, you can go ahead and approve it now. After the fiscal year, the budget could always be amended. But if you want her, like based on the input you received at the public hearing, to look at some other things, then we push this item off. It's just we have to have it done by at least June 15th. So we'd have to have another special meeting to adopt it.
Okay.
So if you want to go ahead and adopt it as it was presented, you can do it now. And after the fiscal year, which starts July 1, if you want to make amendments, you can also make amendments then.
Okay.
So it's just kind of up to y'all.
So we either need a motion to approve or for it to be tabled?
Or to table, yeah.
Okay.
One or the other.
I make a motion to approve the budget for 2026, fiscal year 2026.
Second?
I second it.
Vote?
Hammond,
Yes.
Golden,
No.
Huckabee,
Yes.
Hooley?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Other items, discussion and possible action to select a vice mayor.
Under our system of government, the mayor is elected at large, but basically y'all get to appoint a vice mayor, and the vice mayor's only job is to step in and run the meetings when the mayor is not available. So one of y'all can take on that responsibility if Ms. Manasco is never here on a certain meeting night, which I think's only happened, I think, maybe twice since she's been the mayor, maybe. So it's a very rare occasion.
Do we appoint someone, or do they just say, I'll do it? What do we need to do?
Well, I mean, y'all need a point, so
Okay.
y'all need to make a motion to appoint, so you don't even have a discussion about it first. Don't all volunteer at once.
So this is a volunteer thing?
It basically is, and like I said, the only time a vice mayor
Right.
is required is when Jackie's not here, and I think since she's been elected mayor, I mean, it's less, I can count on one hand. I mean, I can only think of 2 occasions.
Well, I was
Yeah.
here one time when you were gone and
Yeah.
Dixie
Mhm.
took over,
Yep.
so,
And that's all you do.
okay.
And if he ever does it, we do try to keep the agenda light for you. We give Jackie all the hard stuff. and the
Well, do we
vice mayor
need to
gets
flip
easy.
a coin? Do we need to flip a coin?
I might have to. We might have to have a arm wrestling tournament or something.
Oh, good Lord.
I'll make a motion can I make a motion or suggest that Dirk?
No, you can make a suggestion, but you can't make a
Okay, I will
motion.
make a suggestion that Dirk be vice mayor.
I'll second it.
You'll need to make a motion.
Oh, I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Select Dirk as the vice mayor.
And I second that motion.
Vote.
Dirk, I do like you.
Hooley,
Yes.
Huckabee,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Okay, item.
Hammond.
I wasn't gonna make a
Would you
vote,
like to
sorry.
abstain? I can let you abstain. Okay.
Well, it still passes.
Yeah.
Item 11, discussion and possible action to seek proposals for a third-party payroll company to process payroll on behalf of the city of Macomb.
Okay, that's me.
Mhm.
So this was voted on previously by our prior board. I just was watching videos from previous meetings and nothing had come of it. Nobody had gotten any quotes, so I requested quotes for it. The city clerk was only able to get one. So I'd like to make a motion to table it, so when he returns, he can possibly get some more. Jana, last meeting, suggested that we segregate job duties. That was her recommendation, so this would just,
So on payroll though, don't we just have a payroll clerk?
it would be like Paycom or ADP or something like
I guess
that.
I mean like the segregation of,
She just said segregation of jobs within our city hall.
I guess that's my question, is what is a definition
Well,
of the
there's a
segregation?
lot of stuff that I can do, as far as even sending anything into the state or.
Okay, hold up, time out. Hate to stop, but we do have a motion on the table, so
Oh.
for us to have further
Motion.
discussion, she made a
Okay.
motion to table it, so for us to have further discussion, we need to second the motion
Okay.
first, and then you'll have further discussion.
Perfect.
Okay?
Thank you. Second, anyone?
I'll second it.
Okay,
Vote.
all right. Hammond,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Huckabee,
Yes.
Hooley.
Yes.
All right.
So can you explain to us what that means necessarily, then the segregation of,
You're gonna do it under 12.
okay.
Yeah. Since you call for, I mean, so if you call for, if a motion's made, everything stops until there's a second.
Okay.
Okay, that was
Once-
my bad because
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, once there's a second, you as the mayor can ask for further discussion.
okay, and then we vote, okay.
And then you can delay it, right? So now that we voted, though, we have to move on to the next item.
Perfect, okay.
So, yeah.
Item 12, discussion and possible action to seek proposals for a third-party HR company to process HR complaints and decisions on the behalf of the
Okay,
city
again,
of
that's
Macomb.
me. I won't make a motion.
Okay.
Same thing, she had, suggested that per her, recommendation, I'd watched several previous, this was something that was already voted on, just it got dropped. So
Right.
I was just trying to tie up loose ends.
Perfect. So, can you explain to me the meaning of the segregation of job titles? I guess my question pertaining to that is like if we have only a payroll clerk, wouldn't that be a segregation of, like?
That would be.
But the
Well, our
HR
payroll-
is an example of the place we need.
Our payroll clerk is payroll and HR, and then
Oh,
helping
okay.
inside the city clerk, and then the city clerk should be doing the court, and I'm doing the court. So that's what she's saying, is that we need to make sure that we have these jobs and appoint them to not just me,
Okay.
or not just our accounts payable. I know that when it was brought up in the past was if we had, not necessarily more so the HR, but more of the payroll. It was brought up because we had went through a handful of payroll clerks. We had employees at that time that were worried about just whatever payroll clerk in there with our bank accounts and our social security numbers and whatnot. So that was probably the first time I think it was brought up. So it's been brought up several times, but that's just a lot of us that when we get new people in there, they don't last, we have to continue and take over, and so that's a lot of, I know that Commissioner Golden spoke about that by email and just her reviewing the videos, our YouTube videos, and she asked me some questions and I said yes, and then when the consultant was saying that we need to make sure that we don't have all job duties on just one person, it starts to become a problem if I'm stamping off and signing off on everything and submitting it to the state. So I think that Commissioner Golden brought that up, and she said if we did a third party, would that free up our accounts payable / payroll,
We're on HR now.
HR / whatever, no thing to help out in other areas, so.
Okay.
But we didn't get the quotes that.
Question. If we hire a third party, won't the expense be a lot more than just hiring an individual?
Well,
Not necessarily, because you don't have to worry about salary and benefits.
right.
Okay.
You won't have to pay for insurance, work comp, all the other little benefits for the
Paid
city.
leave.
Yeah, paid leave.
About how many checks, how many employees does City of Mangum have?
We have about 30 full-time, and then we have, total, we have about a little over 50 with volunteers and reserves, attorney, you all. So it's time-consuming.
Yeah.
And then that would also probably help at the end of the year because we process everything as well as W-2s. Some will, since we're on the HR side, I'm also handling HR. So again, if Mr. Wiggins is trying to get a hold of me and I'm in the middle of an HR investigation, my life stops for 7 days. I have 7 days to legally gather up the information and come up with a resolution. So if we get one of those, I'm currently the acting HR right now, so stops.
I know, I think the payroll, I think.
HR, we're on HR.
Oh, we're on HR. Okay.
Sorry, my bad.
That's all right.
Okay.
Okay, so we just need an action to seek proposals for HR if that's what we want to do.
Well, we voted before, so it was us getting quotes, but he didn't get any.
Oh, okay.
So that's why.
So I would like to make a motion to table it until I can get more, or we can get more.
Okay. Second.
I'll second. Go ahead, Michelle.
I give Hooley the point there. I heard her just hair before you.
Okay.
Hammond,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Huckabee,
Yes.
Hooley.
Yeah.
All right, item 13, discussion and possible action regarding the possibility to establish an animal control board. Commissioner Golden?
Oh, yes. I would like to have a board I've heard that there's been several boards needed that have kind of fallen to the wayside. I think one for animal control would be beneficial. Could possibly organize volunteers, fundraising, stuff like that.
Awesome.
Have we ever had
Have we ever had a board?
Not for that one.
No, but I think it's an amazing idea due to the fact that a lot of people don't really realize how busy and time consuming that animal control area is.
sure.
And so that would help out with what we can do or bring in the revenue to help or get these, animals adopted versus just sending them off into having to do something that we don't want to do, cute little puppies and kittens and.
Okay, so if we make a motion to approve this, then what is the protocol for creating the board?
We'll have to pass an ordinance, and so, that's all we have to do is pass a series of ordinances. Because all the boards that we set is entitled to, and so we just have to create a new board based on that, assign duties and how many people you want and all that other stuff, what their purpose is. So if you're all authorized to do that, then I can get the ordinance put together and we can look at it and to potentially adopt the ordinance at the next meeting.
Okay, great. Do we have a motion to establish an animal control board?
I would like to
Yeah.
motion that.
Second,
Yes.
vote.
Hammond,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Huckabee,
Yes.
Hooley.
Yes.
Okay. Item 14, discussion and possible action to approve the fire chief applying for the 2025 Good Neighbor Firefighter Safety Program grant.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just need approval to apply.
No information.
It's a 100% grant. It's through the National Volunteer Firefighter Council. This is the second year that State Farm Insurance has put this on. There's going to be 150 departments that are eligible to receive a $10,000 grant to purchase equipment. Application period will begin on June 4th and close on June 6th. So let's need to know if y'all are good with that.
I'll make a motion to approve the fire chief to apply for
Thank
the
you.
Good Neighbor.
Second,
I'll second.
vote.
Hooley,
Yes.
Huckabee,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Okay. Item 15, discussion and possible action to approve the payment of $10,750 invoice number 4934 to Jana A. Walker CPA as a final payment for the fiscal year 2024 audit.
Yes, since we were so behind, I know we have a lot of invoices regarding Meachams and Walkers, but they did 2 years in a row, and that's the last invoice for her presentation and putting everything together. Last time we paid for the 2023 audit, and this one is the 2024.
Okay.
I make a motion that we,
Second,
I'll second.
vote.
Hooley,
yes.
Huckabee,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Okay. Item 16, discussion and possible action to authorize the city manager to get a proposal from the Greer County Sheriff's Department to handle all law enforcement for the city of Mangum.
That's me. I requested that. I was just trying to, since the budget came out and the budget for the police department was so huge, I wanted to see what other options there were, trying to save some money for the city of Mangum. I just got a message from Mr. McMahon. He's on his way.
Okay.
We would have questions and would like to talk to him.
So the question at this point is discussion of possible action to authorize the city manager to get a proposal. And so as a council, you have to decide if the information, the preliminary information that we got at the public budget retreat is enough to decide if we need further discussion or not.
Okay, say it again, do what now? What, this,
So the question, or the action today is discussion and possible action to authorize the city manager to get a proposal from the Greer County Sheriff's Department. So it's what we have to decide if we want to pursue more information than we've already received, or what you guys want to do, correct?
Yes. Because you got, I mean, the board has to act in concert, so, you know, so if y'all want to take an action, y'all have to take that action as a board, right? So, as a board, are you wanting to take action to go look at the sheriff's department as police in Mangum, or if you're happy with the current police and then you don't need to go out for a proposal? That's all I'm trying to say. That's what this item is. As a board, is this something that y'all want to go look at?
Well, I'm going to make some people mad. I'm sorry, but I think we need to take care of our police officers that we have. And, I mean, they're not doing anything wrong. I'm sure the sheriff's office has their hands full as well, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think Mangum PD's doing a great job. And over the past couple of years, it's been, to me, an improvement. My biggest concern is with the sheriff and the county commissioners, and which, you know, I understand right now everything's good relationship with them, but if things go south one of these days, budgets get cut as far as the county goes, and from what I understand, the sheriff's department has said most of this pay would come through a grant. Well, it concerns, you know, and it's probably, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Make sure we're going to blow away. But anyways, you know, when that grant might leave, or in other words, where we would be at that point, we wouldn't have a department at all if things, you know, and two, you know, it concerns me on how much say we would have as an administration with the department, so.
Well, I feel those are all questions that could be answered by Sheriff McMahon. Unfortunately, he is not here at the moment. Oh, there he is! Yay!
We're not going to open this up, though, yet to community discussion, just because at this point, we need to decide as a
Right.
council.
I
if
think
that's
we
what-
should, I mean, at least entertain it. I mean, nothing says you have to, like, you know, squash it now, but I mean, at least, you know, hear it out and see what the proposal is, and
I think you look around the room and see where a lot of your proposals at right now.
Let's keep the crowd discussion just non-existent right now, because we need to, as a council, decide if this is something we're going to pursue or not.
I make a motion we don't pursue this.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Vote.
Hammond,
Yes.
Golden,
no.
Huckabee,
Yes.
Hooley.
Yes.
All right, moving on to item 17, discussion and possible action on the Welcome Center repairs or demolition.
I will say the last meeting that we had, Steve or maybe Gordon was supposed to be contacting someone to go review the Welcome Center. Unfortunately, our clerk is not here, and the information was what he had, but he did leave us a note here. He said he got 4 companies to come and look at it. Let me make sure that I've got that up. He said we will need to get an asbestos and lead inspection, which will cost approximately $800 to $1,500. Step number 1. If no asbestos or lead is to be cleaned up, demo would cost between $75,000 to $100,000. He said he would do a better job of an estimate when he finds out the top part as far as the asbestos and the lead. He did say in this, the first one was A+ construction out of Altus. And he said that if the building is savable. It would cost up to hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not $1 million, to fix the Welcome Center. M&B Contracting or Construction, I can't read his writing very well, but they're out of Altus, gave an estimate of $74,000. They also stated it would be next to impossible to save and rebuild what would cost. We would have costs up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I'm not too sure what the estimate of the $74,000 would be. Oh, that's what it would be to knock down the building. And then he said, M&B said it would also, the front would be next to impossible to save. Any rebuilding, we would have to pay hundreds and thousands of dollars. Spencer Scott out of Mangum said he wouldn't touch it because of the second wall next to the EMS is too much of a liability of it falling on the EMS roof. Ronnie Maddox out of Mangum stated the same as Spencer Scott. They will not touch it due to the liability of it falling on the EMS roof. All four stated it would be a tremendous cost to try and rebuild. That's what he left me.
So, if I'm hearing right, the first step would be to determine whether or not it has asbestos, and then we would be able to get a bid after that.
For some of these, some of them won't even touch it. There's only one that wants that first.
Okay.
To get somebody to come down and inspect it for that. Like he said, M&B gave an estimate of $74,000. He did not go into detail of what that covers, maybe the roof. I'm not too sure, he didn't put it in here, but it just says, and also, he stated the front would be next to impossible to save. Any rebuilding would cost thousands of dollars, more than $100,000 of dollars.
So did Steve have a suggestion? Was that Steve or Chris that did that?
Steve.
Of what the next steps should be?
He just said that it's going to be very hard to try to find somebody to come in here and do that because of the liability, and that there's basically no saving it. So I don't know if I can say this, but the numbers that they're saying in here, the check that they gave us does not come close to that.
What was the check that we received?
94.
94,000? So we should have enough to tear it down, and that's.
According to the top one, the M&B, if that's what it's 74,000, then yes. But he didn't put very much information, and I thought that it was in the packets, but one of the commissioners said it wasn't in their
Didn't see it
packets.
either. So really, at this point, we need.
Steve,
Should we wait before we do anything?
what's your suggestion?
Okay.
He was the one who was working on these calls. I don't think Chris Halford got to talk to any of them. He might have. Not too sure where he went, but he might have. But this is what he left for Mr. Kendall.
I mean, at the last meeting, all y'all did was ask for, price comparison versus repair versus tear down.
So I guess like in waiting though, my question is, do we really need to wait, or can we make a motion to?
Y'all can do whatever you want. If you want to make a motion to tear it down, you can do that. If you want to table it, you can table it, but.
Because really, there's no other option at this point, right? I mean, unless somebody wins the lottery and.
Yeah, unless you got.
There's only one company, and they don't.
Yeah.
I'll be an indoor swimming pool again.
We did receive insurance on it. I heard someone say that. We've already received an insurance payment.
And also, I think it's uninsurable. I mean, the bill is uninsurable. Because we had another claim a few years ago when the pipes busted. I think that cost us about $110,000 to fix. And that was like just 2 years ago, 2 or 3. Actually, it was about 3 or 4 years ago now. So, I mean.
They will not insure that building anymore. That I do know for sure. They came and sat down with us, because like I said, I've had nothing but insurance people since we had that hailstorm, and they will not insure that Welcome Center anymore.
I just think it'd probably be cheaper, like if you want to take a picture of the front of it and then tear down that building, and then if you want to rebuild it, probably, I think it'd be cheaper to rebuild it from scratch versus trying to salvage it.
Is there, and I don't know if this is the right time to talk about it or not, but if we ended up with an extra couple $20,000 from it, could we do some kind of like outdoor something, you know,
Yeah.
where it's not just like we've crashed it down and
Because I think
it's like a big gaping hole?
I think the slab is gonna stay, is my understanding from what I read. They're not gonna do any slabs, so when you get down there, there's just gonna be a concrete slab there.
So it'll probably be like, the OSU Extension Office where they,
They made a little park out of that, though.
Well, there's the one
Well,
on the
then
other side
on
that's
the other
just a
side.
gaping hole.
Yeah, between the theater
Oh.
and the OSU Extension Office.
Okay, sorry
where,
about that.
I think Dr. Hahn had that building. And it's just an empty space. So
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be like that, it'd be an empty space, but you can, I don't know, put some planters out there, maybe some tables, picnic tables.
94,000.
I mean, I don't know what you're gonna do out there.
And that was the price of the first quote tear down if there was no asbestos
Yes, was 74,000.
with mix.
Mhm.
19 things, so there's asbestos.
But I believe it's already been removed, right?
Whenever, I mean,
Isn't
the
that what
state,
Chris
the
Halpern
state of
said?
Oklahoma had that building forever, and I believe when they transferred to us, there was asbestos abatement done then.
Yeah, but they won't touch it unless we get
still have to
somebody
go
in
through
there
the
to.
process.
Yeah, you just have to go, so we'll have to pay for the process to get somebody back out. And it was 74,000.
So could we somehow, I don't know, put it out to the community for ideas of what we could do there? Like low-cost things, you know, as far as where it's not just a gaping hole, but obviously we can't build back a building. But there has to be an idea of something that we could do that wouldn't cost a lot of upkeep. Just coming from having helped the beautification committee in the past, we don't need any more planners. We can't keep those alive. So maybe we could just open it up to like suggestions from the community where we could maybe spend the extra money from, if we were able to get it done for $74,000, what could we do?
With 26,000
Yeah,
or 20,000.
to be able to make it nice on the north side of the square. Is that a possibility?
Mhm.
If we have anything left, that was a rough estimate of the
Right.
74,000, but
So that's probably the first step, is to get it tore down and then move forward from there. See what's left.
Who knows, we could get some local people that might tear it down instead of a company. It might be cheaper.
Well, that's what, they asked Spencer Scott and Ronnie Maddox, and both said that they're unwilling to touch it because of the liability.
Okay.
Because of that, next to
To
it.
tear it down or to just try to get it back.
Nobody thinks it's a great idea to build back, but neither one of them were willing to even tear it down.
right, the bottom of his letter says, all four stated it would be a tremendous cost to try and rebuild. Ronnie Maddox and Spencer Scott said they would not touch it due to the liability of it falling on the EMS roof. They don't want anything to do with it. The only other two is the one from Altus, where we have to have that inspection first, roughly costing us $74,000 with the second one. The other one wouldn't even give us a quote so into detail, but he said about 75 to 100,000 if we didn't have any after our inspection.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, well, I wouldn't want to do business with somebody who can't give me an estimate when you say thousands and thousands of dollars, tens of thousands. You know, I mean, they have, that company, what I'm hearing, hasn't given any kind of
They,
real estimate.
A plus, maybe it's A plus construction, what he has in here, says we have to get the inspection first, and after the inspection, if it's all good, it would be in between $75,000 to $100,000. he would do a better job of an estimate when they find out that part of it
Well, I
first.
thought you said when you were first going through it, thousands and thousands of dollars. which
Yes.
To me is not an estimate.
And then M&B said thousands of dollars, the lowest one being the 74,000.
Thousands of dollars to rebuild, I think is what that was for.
Yes.
Like to go back in and rebuild it back like it
Again,
was.
that's not an estimate.
Yeah, but,
But I mean, we know we don't want to spend that much, I
Right.
understand that.
yeah.
But I wouldn't want to do business with a company that couldn't give me a better estimate. But that's just.
Well, do we need to table this?
It's up to y'all. I can tell you, Blair had that fire, and they lost a shop building, and it was gonna cost about, I think it was $400,000 to replace, to do a metal building to replace their shop building. Their community center, which is still standing, is gonna cost them to about approximately $1 million to build a community center. Actually, it's more than $1 million to build a community center. So shop building, 400,000, community center, $1 million. So that, in my mind, is where the range is at. And if you want to know how much to get an exact estimate, it costs about $30,000 to get the estimate. Because you're going to have to hire, since there'll be a public building, and it's going to be more than
Well, I
300.
mean, I
Yeah.
understand that to an extent, but I wouldn't take something to somebody who couldn't give me a pretty close estimate on it. But that's not something that's me.
Because to repair it, you're going to have the plan, since it would be a public building and publicly owned. They did raise the income cap to 300,000. This is one of those projects that's probably in excess of that, so you are going to have to hire an architect to do that. And that's why it's going to cost so much.
Well, are they thinking or talking about with the money, building it back like it was? Like the 3 stories?
I don't know. I mean, that's something, if you want to explore, you can hire, again, it's going to require an architect to do that. This agenda item is written just to decide whether you want to demolish it or not. If you want to engage with an architect, I was going to look up how much the hospital ended up paying to get their roof done by the architect, since it's a public building and the cost was so much. I can't remember what that invoice was just for the roof. Do you remember what it was?
No, sent it to us in the
Yeah.
last email though.
So if you just spend the 70, I mean, if you do go do that, is it gonna affect that ambulance wall then, still?
It depends on if it's an interior or exterior wall.
Well, I said the wall between, so.
Sometimes, it was an exterior wall and they built onto an exterior wall. Sometimes they built the two buildings at the same
It'd be sort of like
interior.
that building that they tore down in Georgia. It was connected, but they was able to tear it down, and it had an exterior and interior wall on the inside there that holds the weight. Most of those buildings down there are that way.
It was $34,975 is what the architect charged to do the plans for the hospital roof. So they collect the percentage of what the total project is. And I know that the same architect charged Blair $8,000 for the plan.
And that was for $8,000 for a plan to do a metal building for $400,000,
Yeah.
or rebuild as it was for $1 million? Is that
Well,
right, you said?
no,
Or-
to build a community center for $1 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
The hospitals was 34,975.
So that's how much it's gonna cost to go in there, hire a professional to drop the plans, regardless of how many levels you are. So that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna commit to repair it, you're gonna have to understand that it's gonna be expensive to even just get, even if you want to take a roof, go to a one-story.
Right.
You can do that, but, and like I said, you can do a metal building, but you're still, like I said, spending about $400,000 because the price of even steel, and you can still do the brick facade and all that other stuff.
Well,
So we need to either table it,
Yeah, if you don't want
Or
to commit
make a
to tearing
motion.
it down today, you need to table it.
How bad you look on
There isn't one.
there isn't one, sir.
It's bad.
that? You need to really pay attention, because we've had had several of them brick buildings that have blown out, because when they had
Yeah.
picked out,
Yeah.
and picked out that out of the wall, and you have that out of the wall flying out the road.
Right.
Somebody gets hurt.
True.
There's no roof, it ain't working.
Yeah, that, of course, the last meeting I spoke out that I wanted to see if we could do what we could to save it, but, I mean, in my opinion, that's not feasible. And then to table it, that is a concern.
Just
Storm
kicking the
coming
can.
through right now
Mhm.
is messing with the structure even more, and, yeah, it causing.
That's where Chris is right now, trying to keep the water from running into the EMS. That's why he's-
Oh, goodness.
So,
That
uh,
guy.
I mean, I hate to, but,
Yeah.
No
I
other
literally
option.
seen our superintendent with a mop bucket and a mop, and I said, that's not gonna help us, but, you know, thank you for working so hard, but that's
sure.
what he was doing, was literally with the mop bucket, trying to keep it out from going to the EMS side.
So we need to handle it before it gets worse, essentially.
I say we handle it before it really does hurt someone and we get,
So on this, we
we need to make it.
we just need to make a motion
To demolish.
Okay. I make a motion to demolish it.
I'll second.
Vote.
Hammond,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Huckabee,
Yes.
Dooley.
Yes.
Item 18, discussion and possible action to pay the Greer County Sheriff's Department starting in FY 2025-26 on a yearly basis for dispatch services. Currently, the city of Mangum is paying $8,333.33 per month.
Last year, when we went in with the interlocal agreement with the sheriff's department, it was brought up that we would pay yearly and just be done with it. He reminded me about that since it is the beginning of the fiscal year. So this is just us either staying with the monthly plan or just paying it and being done with it.
But the agreement was for us to pay it and be done with it, right?
It's worded,
Original was
either-
monthly, I think.
Yeah. But he's also preparing for his budget as well, if he's not already halfway in it. So he's just trying to double check that we want to stay per month or if we're going to pay it in full. Because we discussed that last year of just paying it in full and be done.
Has it gone up in price since last year, like everything else?
It's the same as it was when we started the agreement. It's $100,000 a year. He said either way is okay. I mean, I'm sure it's just his paperwork part of it that he needs to prepare for his budget. So if we pay it in full, we're just done, and if we pay it per month,
What would be the best way for us? Just do it once a year and that way
Well,
we don't have
again,
to write
without-
a check every month?
well, again, without bringing up everybody involved in jobs, if she's gone, they wait, you know? That's the only thing, is if she's not here, and it's.
That way, if we just do it one time, we'd be done for the year and we wouldn't have to submit a check every month, so. I make a motion, we just do the yearly dispatch service with one payment a year.
Second.
Yeah, I'll second.
Vote.
Hammond,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Huckabee,
Yes.
Dooley.
No.
Discussion and possible, item 19, discussion and possible action to approve the owner contractor agreement between the city of Mangum and Coops Roofing for replacement and repair of the hospital roof.
The last meeting, y'all approved the bid to hire Coons Roofing to do the roof. I guess sent me the contract. And so y'all just have to approve it as a form contract.
Okay. So we need a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve the contract.
Second.
I'll second.
Vote.
Dooley,
Yes.
Huckabee,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
All right, staff and board remarks. Remarks or inquiries by the governing body members, city manager, city attorney, or city employees.
I just wanted to add in that I should have mentioned that in the financial side. With our past due utility bills, We're now at $21,000 that our front clerk has collected on past due utility bills.
Very
I think
good.
it was 8 the last time, but she's collected $21,000 in past due bills.
Very good.
Good.
One more thing, real quick, just wanted to let everybody know, thank you in the community. Major Olson's Project Strong, that he's setting up for an outreach for the children and the youth around here, has got a lot of support. We've got a lot of people signed up, and it's going to be a huge success. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Second.
second it. Yes,
Go.
I'll second it.
Cooley,
Yes.
Huckabee,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
All right, adjourned. You guys, we do have things to sign before anybody leaves.
Walk out the door.
1 second.
One sec, yeah.
I don't want to get wet.
I hope it didn't hail. I don't want it to hail in my car. Mike, you be careful going home. You might have to just, you need to get you a cot down there and just sleep in weather like this.
It's not.
Yeah, thank you for coming, sir.
So that you can.
Tammy and Brent Black, they're the people that bought the Lively's old house north of town.
The ranch. The Lucky Big Ranch.
It's not right.
Huh? Oh. Well, you have to be a bee to like that. Okay, so she has the Boos, the Burgess, and the Blacks. The last name has to start with the B to stay there.
Wow.
But I couldn't afford it.
That's why I didn't.
Well, I didn't have $1 million.
Hey, Lisa.
Oh, okay. You have to.
Hey, Lisa, do you know how to turn the recording off?